Cool. All right. So students will examine classification of matter. This is Unit 1. So we're going to talk about matter, energy, viscosity, and our lab on Wednesday will be going over viscosity as well. So our objective for today is super simple. We're going to define matter, atoms, molecules, and elements. It's super simple, so let's rock it today. So matter, we're going to learn, is anything with mass. It's made up of atoms, and it has both physical and chemical properties. Aw, thanks guys, you're so sweet. So matter is literally everything around you. So it's anything that's made up of atoms, has mass. So tell me in the chat box, what is something that is currently around you that is matter? Tell me in the chat box. So I have some examples, right? Water, soil, the air that you're breathing. Yes, your cat, TV, computers, glasses, yes. Jar, absolutely. Your face is made of matter, exactly. Your dog. Looking good. Yeah, people are made of matter. The actual sun is made of matter. Light itself is not. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Actually, we talked more about that last quarter, but light itself is not made of matter, but the sun itself is, right? The sun is made up of chemicals. Awesome. Okay, so now matter is made up of, okay, Kayla Ray, make sure you're in the right one. It should be the April 15th one. Okay. Yeah, Pat? Oh, it's question number 2? Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah. So, sorry, this must be question number 2. I must have mixed them up. Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. This is actually for number 2. Thank you for catching that, guys. I know it's always tricky at the beginning of the quarters. There's always lots of issues to work out. So thank you for helping me work those out. All right, so atoms are, so matter is made up of atoms. So what atoms are they are the smallest single building block of matter. We have not, Mia. I'm sorry. Apparently number 1 is actually number 2. So we're going to do number 2, then go back to number 1. Okay? It's the smallest unit of complete matter, which means if matter, for example, is the building made up of a bunch of bricks and stuff, an atom would just be a single brick. Smiley faces if that makes sense. So matter is the whole house, an atom is just a single brick. Okay, it's a single building block. Okay, it's the smallest unit of complete matter. It's made up of protons and neutrons in the center, which is called the nucleus, and electrons orbit around the nucleus. So you can actually see here they orbit around the nucleus. They are negatively charged. So for number 2, I'm sorry, this is actually number 2. For number 2, go ahead and fill in the blank with the word nucleus, and then make sure you click out of the box to save your answer. All right, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds, screen checks when you have number 2 saved. Go. All right, looking good. Let's keep on going. Remember, if you ever miss anything, all the answers are in the recording. The only thing is you need to make sure you write down the password. I recommend, even if you're not having issues, always write down the password because things happen and it logs you out and then you can't get in later. So always write down the password. Password's in the chat box. Okay? Looking good. All right, so that being said, guys, an atom is a single brick, but if we have a bunch of the same exact bricks together, for example, building like a wall or something, okay, so a bunch of the same exact bricks, okay, that is going to be what's called the element, all right? So an element is a chemical substance that you can't break down into a different chemical substance, right? If you have a bunch of the same identical bricks and you try to break them down, you're still going to have the same identical bricks. Smiley faces if that makes sense, okay? So a single brick's an atom, the house is matter, and then a bunch of the same bricks is the element. So for example, gold is an element because gold, it can be broken down into smaller pieces. It's just the smaller pieces are still the same type, right? So for example, gold, if you keep on trying to divide it in half, smaller and smaller and smaller until you can get a single gold atom, that gold atom is still gold. It has not changed into a different element, into a different type of atom. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, so that would be like, for example, all right, I'm going to go ahead and show this to you guys. Okay, if this, for example, was like a gold ring, okay, so these are examples of molecules. If this, for example, was like a gold ring, and I kept on dividing all of those atoms out and moving them away, moving them away, moving them away, moving them away, I would still only end up with the same gold type of atom. No, they're molecular models. They're atomic models. They're not my keys, although they are black, so I know how that could be confusing. Okay? All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and type this in the chat box. Okay, Michaela, stay after class and I'll help you out with that, okay? So a single brick equals an atom, right? The wall of the same bricks equals the element, and then the entire house equals just matter in general, okay? Awesome. Now the last one that we need to talk about is molecules, okay? So molecules are when we take atoms and we connect them together to form something that acts different, okay? Yeah, those no, these are examples of atoms, right? So these are examples of atoms. Yeah, so try and make sure you spell it correctly, Michaela. Okay? All right. Oh, in the picture, so yes, these circling around are all electrons. Exactly, Shane. So this is just representing the nucleus. They didn't draw the nucleus because it's hard to draw a nucleus that large. Cool. All right, so for example, water, what is the chemical formula for water? I'm sure most of you know it. Tell me in the chat box. What's another way we can say water? It uses letters and numbers. Tell me in the chat box. Yeah, H2O. And what H2O means is it means two hydrogens, because the 2 is right after the H, so 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. Now, water is very different from hydrogen and oxygen by themselves. For example, hydrogen and oxygen alone are each gases, and they're flammable gases at that. Right now, is water flammable? Tell me in the chat box. Is water flammable? No. Does it also exist as a gas in its natural state? No. What is it? So hydrogen and oxygen, right? They're gases. They're flammable. But water is different. Water is unique. Because we've joined these atoms together, it's a liquid, exactly, and it's not flammable. Okay, smiley faces if that makes sense. When we take atoms and we bring them together with what are called bonds, all right, this changes what they act like. Okay, so for example, all right, I've got a water molecule here. And again, you can see I've got oxygen in the center and 2 hydrogens on the side. And this is going to act very, very differently than just a single hydrogen atom, or sorry, oxygen atom, or a single hydrogen atom. Okay, so molecules are when we take different bricks and connect them together. So molecules are kind of different bricks connecting together, creating something new. Okay? Yeah, exactly. It does, Yesenia. But at the same temperature, like for example, at room temperature, water will be a liquid, hydrogen and oxygen will be a gas. But you can actually have liquid hydrogen and you can actually have liquid oxygen. It's just they're at very, very, very cold temperatures. Okay? Awesome. All right, so again, we're going to be looking at stuff that's really, really tiny. So how many of you have had biology before? How many of you have had biology before? All right, tell me in the chat box. Right, awesome. So yeah, in biology, right, we talk about organisms, we talk about their organs, we talk about cells, but really we're getting even smaller than that. We're getting to the teeny, teeny, tiny stuff. So this stuff all here, this is chemistry. My favorite stuff. Awesome. Okay, looking good. So please match these up. Go ahead on the whiteboard, use your whiteboard tools, use thin lines, use any color but red. It's the 3rd tool up. Go ahead and match those up for me. What is matter? What is atoms? What are molecules? And what are elements? All right, there we go. Looks like we're correcting some mistakes on atoms. I love it. Correct that mistake. There we go. Good, good, good. I actually taught biology for a few years. Biology is pretty cool. You get to look at some really neat stuff about the human body and animals and stuff. Plants. I think it's pretty neat. Cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead, pause your tools. I do see lots of great answers here. I'm going to make sure that these are correct, and then this will be number 1 in your ticket. Again, I apologize for the confusion. This one, we're going backwards. It's going to be number 1. All right, so here we go. Let's make sure these are correct. So matter is anything that has mass, that is made of atoms and has mass. Atoms atoms are the smallest unit of complete matter. They're our single brick. Molecules, let me change colors here. Molecules are when we have two or more atoms held together through shared electrons to create unique substances, and elements cannot be broken down into something different, right? Breaking them down just breaks them down into identical atoms. Smiley faces if that makes sense to everyone. I know atom is a little bit hard to think about, but atom, again, it's the smallest single unit. Smallest single unit. Awesome. All right, guys. This is number 1 in your ticket. I need green checks from everyone. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and then we're going to end class. Sorry, I know we went over a little bit. I'm hurrying up. Green checks, everyone. Go, go, go. Don't break the atom. You'll cause an explosion. Exactly. All right, looking good. We're going to go ahead and move on, everyone. So here was our objective. We talked about matter, atoms, molecules, and elements. Thumbs up if you feel good about everything we went over. It's definitely the pretty simple introductory stuff, so hopefully we feel confident. Love it. See y'all.